Hi friends. Once someone said, a chance meeting is not the most accidental one in the world. And chuck it true. Sometimes, fate frees us with completely different, and sometimes even random people, which leave a deep mark in our life, and without even noticing it. And most likely we also leave such a mark in the lives of other people. Indeed, sometimes one simple word, to which you may not have attached much importance, can radically change a person. And our case will be the best proof of that. Gina Miller is a paramedic in California. She dreamed about this profession all her life. But 15 years ago, then still a young girl, she served in the police immediately after college, where Gina had an incident that she remembered well. He very strongly engraved in her memory. It was autumn 2005 outside. Then Gina had just started her duties as a law enforcement officer, and worked for no more than a month. Her tasks included patrolling the Gorda Park. The area was quite crowded, and calm at the same time. Children with parents, one day passing by one small lake, she ran into a tramp. He rummaged through the muck tank and looked for something to eat. Gina had seen this poor fellow before, but I decided to approach him only that day. As the woman recalls, it was sunny outside. Perhaps I was in such a mood, so I decided to speak to a man. In her soft voice, she asked the stranger, how long has he been outside? But when he saw a woman in uniform, the man began to ask for an apology. Sorry, I'm already leaving. It was normal behavior for a man to see a law enforcement, but Gina reassured him and said, you have nothing to fear. I wish you no harm. So word for word. A little later, the homeless man told about himself. As it turned out, the man's name was Will. And for over 10 years he has been living on this street. Once he had a job and a home, and even plans for the future. He wanted to have children. But his sad story began after his beloved wife died of cancer. It was difficult for a man to survive the loss and start a life anew. To escape reality, the man started using drugs. And he did it deliberately. It was his prostitution as a sign of injustice. But then, everything is as usual. Soon he was left without work, and, as a result, at home. But later on the street. As a result, Gina was touched by the story of a homeless person. Perhaps due to her age, due to inexperience and naivety, but she decided to take a risky step. On the same evening, the girl brought the man clothes and shoes, which she bought in a second hand. And also hot food, from which the homeless man's eyes lit up. Gina decided to visit Will the next day. Then she gave him $10 so that he could restore the documents. After all, as she believed, this way he would be able to find a job faster and change his lifestyle. The girl knew it was too risky. After all, a homeless person could spend money on another drink or alcohol, but something inside her suggested that in such a way she could influence Will. She also helped arrange a homeless assistance center, that he will spend this 10 on documents. And nothing else. At that time, the girl started having problems at work. She could not find a common language with her new partner in any way. And since she was all alone in the city, having arrived in the city from the suburbs, she increasingly began to spend time with Will on a park bench. They could talk for a long time on different topics, and she noticed that the man began to change. Distantly, he somehow reminded her of her. This went on for over a month. The genie truly believed that she was doing a good deed. But one day, Will did not come to their place. And he didn't show up the next day either. The girl came for several days waiting to see the man. But he just disappeared. Visited the health center, where the genie assigned him. She was informed that the Will had not shown up for several days. Of course she felt cheated. She believed this man and believed that she could change his life. But alas, the reality turned out to be different. It's hard to imagine, but she lived with this feeling for 15 long years. She did not know if he was alive and what happened to him. Shortly after the day Will disappeared, the girl quit her job with the police and decided to fulfill her dream. Gina became a paramedic and got married. Moved to another city. Of course, she sometimes remembered that time. When I was young and inexperienced. So far past. 15 years. And most likely, she would have thought for the rest of her life. That she could not change the life of the poor fellow. But October 25th, it was a special day for her. Gina pulled into a Chevron gas station. While she was paying at the checkout. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw a man standing behind and intently decorating her. When was she going to leave the store? He blocked her way. Initially, she thought he was not himself. But the man looked straight into Gina's eyes. Then he said, "Do you remember me?" He stood there and asked with tears in his eyes. "Do I remember him?" I thought for 2 seconds and understood. A woman wrote it to Will. It really was Will, and as it turned out, he really kept his promise. He then restored his documents, and even got a job at a construction site. The schedule was such that he could not escape and have a day in the park. And when he came a few weeks, the man even got a promotion, but in another city. After moving there a few years later, he met his future wife, which helped him to believe in God. Now he goes to church every Sunday. Will found his happiness. The man tried to find his wife, but all was unsuccessful. Their paths quickly passed each other. But the most surprising thing is 15 years later, fate brought them together again hundreds of kilometers from that city. Where did they meet? At a completely random gas station. On that day, two adults were crying like children, and none of them was shy about expressing their emotions. After all, that chance meeting was not accidental at all. This story was told by Gina herself on Facebook, writing the following words. We cried in the middle of the store before we asked one of the employees to take a photo of us. I wanted to share this story because kindness matters more. Kindness can change the course of someone's life. You may never know it, but will is prove be kind in everything you do, and the good will return to you with the Torian. The genie is sure that goodness lives in each of us. Do not be afraid to show it. After all, one day you can save someone's life. Friends, and you believe in the fact that everything in our life has not happened at all. Write your opinion in the comments. Well, for today that's all.